One of my most frequently asked questions is how to mix an enriched dough without using a stand mixer. So today I'm going to show you how to do just that. First thing we're going to do is add in our wet ingredients to our bowl. And give that a quick mix. To that same bowl, you're going to add in your flour and our sugar and yeast. And then give this a good mix until all of our flour is hydrated. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I am the laziest son of a bitch that there ever was, and I do not like to work very hard. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna allow our dough to autolyse, which means that we're letting the gluten relax and develop. So we're gonna cover our dough for about 20 minutes so we don't have to do a ton of work. We're just gonna let it sit and let time do everything. Our dough has been resting for about 20 minutes now, and we're going to add in our salt and give it a good mix. We are going to dump our dough out onto our floured surface and just knead for a couple more minutes. Nothing crazy. Remember, we're not here to do all the work. We're letting time do it for us. Alrighty, so this is where the labor is going to start to kick in. I know we are working smarter and not harder, but we still need to put in some work. So I'm going to take small amounts of my softened butter and begin to work it into the dough. Now, since our dough has been resting, I'm just going to work it a little bit more, and then we are ready to proof our dough. Now I'm going to leave this to proof on the counter for about an hour until I decide what I'm going to make with this. We have our freshly proofed dough. So I decided that I'm going to make a babka with the brioche that we just hand mixed. I'm gonna do it with a black sesame seed paste, which is very nutty and just like subtle, delicious, a little bit more on the unique side, but you guys can fill it with almond cream or make it savory. Honestly, anything that you want to do with your brioche, feel free. The best way to make sure that you have a nice light almond cream is to make sure that you paddle your butter and sugar well enough that the air is incorporated into the fat. A lot of people will mistake this consistency for light and fluffy, but this is nowhere near the consistency that we're looking for. So keep whipping. This is the consistency that we're looking for. A nice light and fluffy butter.
Once your butter is light and fluffy, add in your egg and mix until incorporated. Scrape down the sides and then add in your almond flour and regular flour. Once that's mixed in, I'm adding in my black sesame paste. You can skip that part or add in poppy seeds or lemon zest, whatever you want.
So we have our black sesame almond cream all ready. Let's set that aside and roll out our brioche.
So hand mixing an enriched dough is not as labor intensive or scary as some people might think. The most important step is to allow your dough to rest and give it time to allow the gluten to develop, so that way you are able to have that nice window pane structure the same way that anybody would have if they were using a mixer. Now, if you're crunched for time, you can always just knead by hand and do it for long, agonizing amounts of time until you develop that window pane, but the autolyse is the way to go. You're still going to have to mix by hand a little bit, but nowhere near the amount that you'd have to do if you are trying to develop the gluten yourself. I hope that this video helps anybody who's struggling with mixing doughs by hand, and that you are able to learn a little bit more about dough development.
So that's how you hand mix and enrich dough. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.